Name the most underrated player on the 49ers through 3 weeks.
And I think there's a few of them that we could really go with on this. And I actually had a hard time trying to narrow it down to one, but there's one player that I started to rack my brain and go through the last few weeks that really has not been mentioned on any of my shows. And this player has to be talked about. Tayshaun Gibson. Like, when you're a defensive back or you're an offensive lineman and your name's not mentioned, that's usually a good thing. That means you're getting the job done. Guys like Hufanga are getting interceptions. Gibson last year had a ton of interceptions. But the fact that you're not talking about Gibson tells you he's doing his job and he's doing it at a high level. Do you know that he's only been targeted 4 times this whole year, Grant, and given up 2 catches? The whole year.
Crazy.
The whole year. He's like,
and
he really is forgotten right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like they traded up. Their first pick in the draft was essentially to get his replacement.
Yeah.
Maybe not for this year, but for next year. I mean, it was like, God, so okay, you're writing off Tayshaun Gibson, and he's just the most consistent player. It seems like he should have made a lot more money and stuck on one team in his career, but he's bounced around and been a ball hawk for a bunch of teams.
Yeah, I mean, in Chicago, he made a Pro Bowl. Very, very good player. He had a total resurgence last year by the grace of God, really. I mean, he was a late addition to the team. Jimmy Ward got hurt. He ended up kind of taking his job. And then it was like, well, I might retire and just coach local football here. Well, you know what? I'll come back for one more year. If I'm going to play anywhere, it's going to be San Francisco. Like, I don't even have to be the most highest paid. Just, I want to be with the guys again. Let's run it back one more year. So it was smart for the 49ers to find his potential replacement going forward. But I mean, as guys age, they usually don't get better, especially at an athletic position like defensive back. And he's aging like a fine wine. He played phenomenal last year. He's doing it again this year, although a little bit different. He just deserves a lot of credit for being as good as he has been so far this year.
Dude is 33 years old. He's almost my age.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tayshaun Gibson. I got another guy, also in the defensive backfield.
Oh, okay.
Diamador Lenore. He's really good.
No,
He's been really good for a while, and no one really talks about him. He's given up a quarterback rating of 75 this year. Yeah, he's got a good pass rush in front of him, but still, I mean, his interception, what was it, 2 games ago? 1 game? Anyway, the one where he jumped the route, phenomenal. I think it was against the Rams.
Yeah, against the Rams, yeah.
He's quite good.
He is good, and he's physically starting to come into his own as well. I mean, he just physically looks like a different player this year. He's taking it very seriously. I know that there was like some personal things going on his rookie year. And remember, Ambry Thomas kind of took the early lead as far as guys who might be something for the 49ers. It was year one. He couldn't get on the field really, and Ambry Thomas did towards the tail end of the year and actually flashed a little bit. So there was a lot of hope for Ambry Thomas. And then Diamador Lenore just slowly stuck with it and got better and a little bit better and physically more imposing. And this year he's really put it all together. You can tell he's got a ton of confidence in himself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So good for those defensive backs. Anyone else you want to mention? An underrated player?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to mention this was the other person I was kind of going back and forth with. Jauan Jennings. I mean, it's interesting because Jauan Jennings, when you watch him in training camp, he's really not a part of a lot of things. He has a ton of drops, and you're just like, I mean, is this guy really good? But you hear his teammates talk about him. Fred Warner says he's one of the best players on the team. You've heard Eric Armstead say the same thing. You're like, I'm not seeing it in person. But man, when he's on the field, if you need a big catch, he's making that big catch. There's 2 catches he's made this year from Brock Purdy where the ball was thrown behind him and he catches it like in stride as much as he can and spins as he's catching it and just keeps moving down the field as if nothing happened. Anytime a big play breaks, he's always right there in the weeds, making a block, making big catches on 3rd down. Jauan Jennings is a really, really good football player. This is likely his last year with the team. Hopefully Ronnie Bell can step in and fill those shoes admirably. But Jauan Jennings is a big, crucial part of this offense.
Okay, I got one more player. And this guy hasn't done much yet. And so maybe that's why we're not talking about him. But I feel like he hasn't had opportunities. And he's a very important part of the team. And he's going to make an impact down the line, Ray McLeod. I think he's a really good athlete. I think he's a hell of a returner. He just hasn't gotten that many opportunities yet. And I think he's a hell of a gadget player. Whenever they give him opportunities on offense, I'm not even saying a gadget player, I feel it's a little disrespectful. I feel like he could do a little bit of everything. When Debo was out and Ray wasn't his spot, I thought he did everything well. So I think Ray, he's way under the radar, but he's lingering. He's coming around.
He really is kind of a Debo light. And because Christian McCaffrey's on this team, that if Debo does miss some time for any reason, yes, Debo, I mean, in a vacuum, Debo's a way better player than Ray. I understand that. But Ray can do some of those same things for a short stint. So if you need it for a month, I think Ray can make it happen. If you need it for a couple games, I think Ray can make it happen. And it's nice having a player like that on the bench that can kind of do some of the same things that you expect from Debo in case Debo does get injured. It is a nice luxury to have for sure.
Absolutely. So shout out to Ray McLeod. Is there anyone else we're missing? Mitch Wisnowski.
Well, Mitch, he was my underrated player in week 1. I mean, he's incredible. He's got an array of punts. Certainly he could be one. Jake Moody, I feel like, is getting proper love at this point, as he should be. So I don't have anybody else that I can think of off the top of my head.